Welcome to Coach SG and Friends, where we discuss topics that help you have a better relationship with yourself and others. I am Coach SG, otherwise known as your joyful friend. I'm a relationship coach and life mentor, an entrepreneur and speaker. I'm based out of Los Angeles, but originally from Brooklyn, New York. I love great music, deep conversations, and inspiring people to live their best emotional lives and create their most amazing love story. Let me introduce you to my two friends, Janessa Rose and Lisa Miranda. Janessa is the CEO of Motivational Monsters, a nonprofit that helps people activate mental health and emotional well-being through creative arts. She is the author of How to Stop Being an Effing Bum. BUM stands for Broken Urban Mentality. She's been dubbed the Tony Robbins / Cardi B of motivational speakers, and she calls herself the Galactic Goddess. Lisa Miranda is an actor and creative director. She's also dabbling in producing. She is based in Miami, New York, and Paris. She is a world traveler who speaks several languages, who loves life, good people, and good conversation. So we want to welcome you to our podcast. Let's get started. Welcome back, ladies. Welcome back. Good to see you as always. And today we're going to be talking about the dating guidelines for 2021. You know, last episode it was taking us away. So it was great for us to get back together and reset and just make this an episode. The first rule that we have is know what you want. So if you're dating, you got to know what you want. What do you guys add to that?
Sometimes we think we know what we want, and then based off of what we're getting, we have new needs and wants. So it's important to pay attention to what you're feeling, so that way you can pinpoint what is it that you want or don't want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I also think not to compromise on what you want just because it's the first thing that becomes available to you. You know, if you really want a relationship with a certain kind of person or you know, a certain kind of lifestyle, if you just go ahead and settle because it's the first thing that comes to you, then you're going to be disappointed later.
And I would agree. And I think, you know, when you go out and you start dating, you know, you've got to know if you want to be in a relationship or not. I think that's really important because, you know, there are people out here ready to be in a relationship and there's people dating, just want to kick it and you're not aligned, and then it causes a lot of friction. So I think it's really important that people at least know what they want, but not just in physically. And I want to talk about this with you girls. What things are you looking for, and how do you know what you want?
You know, that's such a good question. It changes, like I was saying, like it shifts. But one of the main things for me personally is I like deep, meaningful connection. I really want to connect with somebody more than the physical. I have a connection with somebody spiritually, or a deep, meaningful connection, like emotionally or mentally. The sex becomes so much more rewarding. The connection is so much more passionate. And that's just like a whole other level. I feel like the physical connection is a gift and a celebration. It's more of a celebratory ceremony or ritual, to thank the creator for the union, for being able to find somebody that you're aligned with and that you're connected with. And even more so, like, to get more spiritual, because that's what I enjoy most, is to say like, wow, like I'm connecting with another soul. Like, you know, the body's the body, but the soul is so much more broader for me. And so I love spiritual connection, and I think it makes the physical connection so much more special.
Love that.
I don't think I was ever given the idea, or presented with the idea rather, that you could just date just for dating's sake. You know what I'm saying? Like there was always something wrong with doing that. Like that's misleading people or hurting people, or you having your own, you know, your own shit that you're not dealing with. But it always seemed like you date someone with the intention of being with someone, you know, not just for the, you know, not just for shits and giggles. But so saying now, I'm like, wow, there's like so much more freedom in this that I didn't even know about.
Right.
But as far as dating, I know how Janessa said it shifts for her. It never shifts for me. I like the same things over 1,000 times over. It's almost like, the same kind of soul each time. That's what I'm looking for. Someone who is really and truly interested in me as a person, and not in the superficial way, but that I could really set my watch to. That has like a lifestyle that we can spend a lot of time together, but that we're still working on things and striving, and really like goal oriented. What else? Someone that I can trust, that is, that I can count on, and that I could see myself long term. But I don't like wild cards. I don't know this is going well, but it might end next week. And some of my friends have like, oh, but it's so fun with someone I'm like, I don't like that. I think I stopped liking that in like 12th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. I'm like, why you hurt me so much? And that was it. I was good on that.
Here's the thing though, it's like, I think before in the past, like I would look for a certain type. Like I wanted this type and I wanted their behavior to be this certain way. But now I think, this last time it was really about the things that I value the most, which is like, what their habits are. I didn't want to be around somebody like you just said, you're like, I don't want a wild card. I actually wanted more of a wild card. I wanted somebody who was more spontaneous, because doing the same thing every day, like it starts to get, so I got what I asked for, because I never know what's going to happen. But the other thing too is I was looking for habits. I wanted somebody who was meditating. I wanted somebody who I felt like was emotionally mature, who had been through some things and really had gone to the other side of it and learned some lessons, and could communicate really well, and was mentally challenging, and we liked the same music. Like some of the stuff that I really didn't just think about, it wasn't about finances and all that stuff, all the exterior stuff. I mean, all that stuff is great. It's the extra features or whatever, but I really wanted I wanted a deep connection, like Janessa had mentioned. Somebody I know that when I'm struggling, they're not making it about them, but they're trying to figure out why I'm struggling, and me doing the same for them. But go ahead, Janessa, what were you going to say?
What Lisa was saying, as much as I love deep connections, I'm like Lisa too. I'm never dating without the intent of this might be my forever person, or forever in this body person. Because once we leave the body, things change. Right. But I'm always dating with the intent of this could be the one. I'm never, or I can be the one for that person. I'm always aware of that too, because I don't want to disregard and do something to someone that I wouldn't want to done to me. Like, oh, we're just hanging out. Like I'm totally just treating you like we can have the best relationship ever, but I have no intention on staying here. I'm waiting for something better to come along, more ideal. That's not who I am. I'm often in that state of, if I'm dating, if I'm spending time with you, I'm giving you the opportunity to make a case for me to say this might be something I can invest in with the deeper intent. As a child, maybe younger in teenage years, I was more, like she said, like in 12th grade, she was like in that space. I might have been a little bit more like, whatever, I'll chill with him because, he's cool. People know he got shit. I want shit, stupid shit that doesn't work. And as you grow older, hopefully you evolve in the consciousness to say, yo, universal law doesn't benefit me like that. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of us get into relationships and we think like, oh, I could just hang around and attach without any attention. And you can, because we have free will. But because of universal law, when you're in that space, you have to really make bringing us back to that topic is making it clear what the other person is wanting and what you're wanting, and making sure that's aligned. Because if not, you're in danger of unrequited love energy. You know what I'm saying? You're in the space of, I want to take and not give, or I'm going to give without taking for myself. You know what I'm saying? Or accepting for myself. So there's an insufficiency of balance. And that really, by universal law, I mean, this might be advanced level talk, but it manifests undesirable results for us. And so if we're talking about relationship mastering and stuff like that, because every connection with two people is a relationship. What kind of relationship is the question? But
Right.
we're all having relationships. You know what I mean? So it's important to pay attention to that, because if not, you're really in a dangerous space of taking in and pulling, just the unequal give and take type of vibe.
Hmm.
You know what that makes me think of? I remember growing up, I thought like what you wanted in a relationship was somehow connected to the level of respect that you get. So if you just want to hang out and have fun, maybe you don't merit the same kind of respect as someone who wants a relationship, who wants to get married, etc. So maybe maybe there was some fear in not wanting to do something casual because there's this stigma sometimes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm great. I'm glad that you said that, because I don't really think about that, and I think it's a great thing to add value to this podcast, because I think a lot of people feel that way. If you're having fun, then it's not that serious. You got to be so serious with dating, but we'll get down to why you have to have fun. But I think also, women they get a harder time about, we make these lists, like we make these lists about dating, and we make these unreasonable lists. But the funny part about that is that goes against what we talk about with goals and dreams. Like they say, you have to be very specific, you got to know what you want, and if you don't know what you want, you're just kind of out there, just kind of with no guidance. And I do think it's really important that you do make a list, and you make it as detailed as possible. It doesn't mean that you're going to get everything that's on there. And I don't want to make light of it, but it's kind of like if I'm going out to buy clothing and I have to get a certain type of shirt, I may know exactly, I want it to be a certain kind of neck, I want it to be a certain color, I want it to fit a certain way. So now I know what I'm looking for. I'm not going around just in every store. I'm looking for something specific. So when I go in, I'm looking for it. Now I'm leaving. So I just think it makes you more productive, and it helps you. This is a process that people don't do. They don't know what they want. They just kind of figure out what's showing up, and they just kind of hook up with whatever, instead of being really clear about what they want. And when it's not fitting, just kind of move along.
The analogy
So
you just gave with the shirt, that kind of goes to like a different point, a different stigma, because I feel like a lot of times we've dated because we have to find this one person. It's supposed to be one person forever, as opposed to a shirt where it could be seasonal, or you have it for a while.
Because if you want to put it that way, I got a whole closet.
Yeah, no, but it felt like, no, because I don't know for you guys, but it felt like growing up, I was thinking about this when we decided on this topic, that if you don't have this part of your life figured out by a certain point, then you're just, you're dealing with the same problems you are in not childhood, in your young adult life, and it's just like a repeated cycle. So it's like there's some kind of honor in having figured this part out, which here I'm learning from you guys, it's the complete opposite. It's not, you change and shift, and you can have different relationships, and it doesn't have to be this, in sickness and health, and in poverty and in more poverty. But
well, let me respond to that, because you're right. You could take that analogy and make it seem like I'm saying, like, it has to be all these things. But I think what I was trying to say is, like recently I just bought a new car, right? I bought a new toy, and
Yeah.
and I was specific about what I wanted. So when we were going to make the buying decision, I didn't even want her to show me other things, because that wasn't what I wanted. And because I was clear about what I wanted. I think it's the same when you're going out on a date. You got to be able to clarify at least the big things that you value the most, so that when you're out dating, you're not just dating with what shows up. That you're like, oh, okay, I like this, and there's a reason that I like this, and I want more of this. You've got to be able to say that. So I'm gonna go right to the next one, unless somebody has something pressing.
say one more thing about this, because I realize there's so many of these. A
Right.
lot of women date just by who comes to them, not necessarily who they choose. Because there's this other idea of not being out there, or you know what I'm saying? Like your options are who likes you, and then you choose from that. Like, do you guys know what I'm talking about?
I do, because you don't want to go for somebody who's going to reject you. So guys have to do this all the time.
Even more, it's not ladylike. It's not ladylike.
Well, then I ain't a lady, because let me tell you, because I'm sitting here, I'm like, no, I'm the opposite in that sense. I don't. So many guys try to hit on me and stuff. I'm like, sometimes I'm looking at my option list and I'm like, who is taking this order? What? Did this guy just hit me up? Why is he? You forget it. You would not believe. So I'm always looking for the guys that I like, and especially when I was younger too. So I've always challenged and look for the things that I want in a man, because it just made me push more for the relationship, made me enjoy it more, made me feel like, in my power, I guess. But I definitely did. I definitely wasn't or haven't or am not the person that just goes for what's available to me. I look
Right.
for what I want.
Well, I'm more like Lisa. I'm like, I'd rather know they like me, because I don't want to.
Right,
I'm
right. You
like,
see that person you like, and you make sure they see you.
right, right.
You're like, dude.
I was like, if this law of attraction thing works, I'll just be here trying to be attractive.
I was sitting at a restaurant once, and someone told me he walked by 6 times before I saw him so he could chit chat with me. He said, "You don't remember?" I said, "No, sir. I had no idea." 6 times.
And when you add the "sir" on it, it sounds really bad. No, sir. So,
That's
number one, know what you want. Number two, know where you are emotionally. This is really, really important. Why do we need to know where we are emotionally?
because you will be an emotional bum if you don't, man.
Yeah. Because Janessa said it last week when she hit the nail on the head, when she talked about how sometimes you meet people who are think they're broken up, but they're just fighting, or they're on a break or whatever in their relationship. They don't even know that they haven't even terminated a relationship, and here they are trying to start something new with you. And I said, how did she know this happened to me?
That was that psychic power coming in.
No, but when you don't know where you are, you don't know what you're available to give. And then I know a lot of times you get these apologies in relationships. Oh, I hadn't figured that out. I hadn't dealt with that, as opposed to just taking score of where you are right now, so you know what you're doing.
Yeah, Lisa, you are just so French right now. I love it. I cannot take you. I'm like, see that? She can sip on my. I need to figure my life out so I can get to it. She must have put a bouquet and get a teacup, girl, and put that pink lipstick. You look good. All right, but to know where you are emotionally. The one thing that we discuss with you guys all the time, us three, is knowing that we can't control other energy outside of self. Knowing our emotional state is important, because chances are people are going to have, chances guaranteed they have their own emotions about stuff, and they also don't know where they are emotionally, and even if they did or didn't, it's not our responsibility to make them figure that out, so we're comfortable. And so your emotional intelligence and knowing yourself emotionally and where you are, then you can say, you know what, oh, it seems you also don't know where you are emotionally. And if you're having that type of experience, chances are you don't either. Or I can't mess with you because this is making me emotionally frazzled. It just means that we become frustrated and we have this internal, type of a friction going on, or whatever. But you got to know, so that way you can know how to process you, because we can't process them. We could sit here and, Lisa, I mean, not Lisa, Sherelle said something to me the other day when we were filming, but it was kind of like it was like, it was a personal type of thing. But what you said to me, Sherelle, was, that I need to like really assess the way that I feel. And before I'm throwing it on everybody, just know that no matter how rational I could explain it to somebody, they're not rational. They're not me. They're not going to see, you know what I'm saying? And it doesn't necessarily mean that they're a bad person. It just means that they're not you. They cannot see the same perception as you can see. So instead of getting yourself so emotionally wrapped up and tied and trying to make them see it your way, it's energetically impossible to do that. We have to understand that. When we understand that one piece of information, it is impossible, according to universal law, that these people are going to see things and perceive life exactly the way I need them to do. So my emotions are together. Impossible. It's a lie. It's a lie that the ego is trying to tell you so that way you can stay in a stagnant space. So you got to understand that. So that way, whenever their emotions are up, down, in between, and all around, you're in control of yourself and you're saying, you know what, emotionally, that's not where I am. There you might be in a space. I know people who are gun ho about carrying somebody else's emotions. I know people that are like, they pay no mind to them. They're fulfilled by trying to fulfill somebody else's emotions. I mean, that's where they are. But you have to know that I'm completely available to carry somebody else's life forever and not pay attention to mine. You'll find you a nice narcissist. They're out there.
And I was just thinking we should have changed this to not know where you are emotionally only, but know where they are emotionally as well. So thank you for that.
I just felt real guilty for worrying about other people's emotions.
That's okay.
I thought about every major relationship where I was carrying someone else's. But I think sometimes it's masked as caring and loving someone, where you commit to something long term, where they don't have answers to their problems, and you don't have the power to make their decisions for them. So you just stick around and help them, help them be sad, I guess. I don't know. But I think getting out of that cycle is so powerful. And I also know that sometimes you have to go through all of that to know that you don't want to have that anymore, as opposed to just knowing, hey, no, that's not for me. Because a lot of times I've been like, hold on, let me see. And then after I burn a whole finger, I'm like, you know what? I really like fire. I really like putting fingers. I tried one more time to see if it was just for the right hand. No, I tried left hand. Burn too. So you know what?
What you just said is beautiful and important. Absolutely. We got to go through it. That's how I learned the type of things. And like you said before, whatever we are, whatever they are, we have that experience. Being with somebody and loving them and saying, you know what, like that's their stuff. I'm aware of it, but I'm willing to be loving and supportive and so on and so on. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that's beautiful. That's a major vital part of relationshiping. Like that's a major part. But also to understand during that process, like you said, I burn my fingers. Eventually you'll learn, like, even if the intent was I'm here and I'm loving and I'm supportive, I'm not going to necessarily be sad with you, but I'm understanding of your path in this space. But then you realize, oh, my fingers are being burned because there was also something that you needed from that type of I need to be there for you. And so when they are emotionally unavailable, that's the burning of the fingers. Oh, but they're not there for me because they can't be, because they cannot even figure it out for self. But this is also a reflection of us when we're engaged in things like this. So this is why, and these are our teachers, really. And this is what it does. It tells us, oh, next relationship that comes up that looks like this color, you like, oh no, I already wore that color last week. I'm good.
Right. I know exactly what you're talking about, because I know for me, it's really hard for me to get rid of needy people. And then I realized actually the solution is to not start with them to begin with, because I know it's hard for me once they're sucking my blood for me to be like, get off of me. So I know, and from the jump, okay, I need boundaries whenever these people come into my life.
Yeah, when you feel like you got to make a whole ton of boundaries, it's a sign. It's a sign of just, that you're not aligned. But, the other part that I want to add, I love that you guys added that perspective. The other part of this is knowing where you are emotionally. Just, you've got to ask yourself, like, are you ready to invest in a relationship? And I don't even just mean like what Janessa was saying, you could be, or I think it was Lisa, I don't know who said it, that you could still be invested in your past relationship. But it could also be your career is going crazy. You don't have time for a relationship at all. You want it, but you just don't have time. Or you have kids, or you have stuff going on in your life, like somebody has passed away or they're sick, and you just don't have it. And so you've got to know that too, and that's okay. It doesn't mean you still can't date, but you've got to know where you are, and you've got to be able to communicate. Like, I'm just not at that place. And most times people are like, it's okay, let's love it. but he's going through all this. And then before you know it, he's not showing up the way you want him to show up. When he said, listen, I just don't have the capacity to invest in a relationship like, like you would want. But we don't want to listen to that because they so cute.
You know what, sis? That's so true. Just recent, I told somebody asked me like, "Yo, what's up? You not?" I get that question a lot. You not single? No way, you're single. That's the G building up. And
Right.
like, you gotta have a boyfriend. Like, no, I don't. And not only that, but I was just telling somebody, I'm not in the space to date right now. I don't want to date. I have no type of like, I just don't feel that way at all. And he kept trying to pry on why not, and so on and so forth, trying to really get like a feel. And I had to turn around and I was like, you know what? Emotionally, I don't even want to have this conversation. That's how much I'm not into dating. I don't even want to check on why I'm not dating. I'm just not.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just not. It's not an option right now.
But here's the thing. The funny part is when you tell somebody you're not interested in dating, oh my
No, he
God.
wasn't. I'm saying he wasn't hearing nothing. Every day, girl, he left. We had a meeting. Left. Called me back. We're like, I'm coming back over. I'm like, excuse you, sir. I said, sir. I said, absolutely not, sir. That's exactly what I said. I said, absolutely not, sir. That was a meeting. Coming back to what?
We've established when someone refers to you as sir, you are not as close as you would like to be, nor will you ever get that close.
Or I'm really mad at you. You're already close, and I start calling you sir.
So we got to know what we want. We got to know where we are emotionally. And number 3 is date multiple people. And this is the stuff that got us like crazy and twisted like we were last time. But date multiple people. Why do we want to date multiple people?
I don't know, but right now,
I'll explain why I would not date multiple people. For me, it's to be able to give my attention to getting to know someone. It takes so much time and care and hours on the phone. If I do 2 people, I don't have enough time to also work. So I'm not playing. Trying to think of good things to do together. So for me, it's like I like to know. Get to the point where I know if this person's a good match. If that person's not, okay, God be with you. And then I start with somebody else. But if I'm, so I met this person, I met that person. For me, I've never been able to function because I can't give anyone that priority. So it just doesn't work for me.
I completely agree with Lisa. I can't do multiple people.
But look at Sherelle's face though.
I can't though. I can't. I just can't. It requires for me to really put in enough energy, and moreover, because I understand the law of attraction and mirroring and stuff. I don't want to date somebody who is dating multiple people. It's okay if we're dating and seeing each other and testing things out and not committing yet, and just seeing, where's it going, no matter what stage we get to. You know what I'm saying?
All right, I have questions for both of you because of course I think differently and I do think you should date multiple people. And I get what you're saying. I don't want to put all my time and energy into this person, and because I'm that way with friends. I could do like 3 or 4 close friends. I can't do a lot because I just don't have the capacity. I just don't have time, right? Because that's just how it works. But I think this is also knowing where you are emotionally. But dating multiple people, I guess here's, me with the analogy, right? It's kind of like if you have an open position at work, right? Say I have a company and I have an open position at work, and I interview the first person that comes and I hire them because I don't have the capacity to, to entertain more than one person. But how do you know who's the right fit if you're not entertaining more people? So that's the question I have. If I know it takes time to find alignment and to find people that you're matched with, but don't you think if you put all this time and energy into somebody for 6 months and then you realize they're not the one, now you got to start it all over again, what would be the difference?
So I'm glad you brought up that analogy because I'm going to use it back on you. Okay.
I love it.
So if you have an office and we need an administrative assistant. You don't hire 5 of them to come in and sit at that desk because
But
it's
nobody's being hired yet.
but you have to hire somebody, right?
So
Because
no, because dating is the interview process, in my opinion.
Okay. So what I'm saying is the interview lasts 10 minutes. So you can't really say it in that sense. It's got to be more of the dating process is the probationary period.
You got me. I believe that.
You could sit here and bring me a paper that you and your homegirls filled out, everybody number on your reference sheet is your friends. I don't believe this shit. I know, because I'm the girl who makes all my friends' resumes. I put my experiences on my homegirls' resumes all the time. This is a lot like women dating people like, oh, I'm this. That's not her life. That's Janessa's life. I just told her what you would like to hear and see because I see what you're interested in, right? It's the same thing. These people are advocates.
Okay, so I have a question. Is it?
Hold on.
Okay.
I want to say this probationary, right? So these people are already coming into the interview as advocates. They know what the position is and they know what the position requires because it was already given to them. Like you need to have a degree or you need to drive a car or whatever your thing is, right? So they're coming in as advocates. They're showing up with all the things that will get them the job at face value. We don't know how they operate as a team in the business with the pressure of the business until we give them this probationary period. Once we give them this probationary period, we see how they act. We see if they're on time. We see how they dress. We see how they talk to clients.
We're monitoring habits. Yes.
We're monitoring all their things. And then they have some benefits, like they get to get lunch paid on Fridays. They get to leave early. They get to do all the fun things with the business.
Right.
But they don't get the real powerful 401k benefit, the company car, the sign-on bonus.
Hold on. I agree with you. So where you're talking is they can't have sex with you and all that. Great.
No. Wait. We named them office things.
I'm going to be the referee. I'm going to be the referee. I need you guys to both calm down for just a moment. All right, Janessa, finish your thought and then we're going to take it to Sherelle.
Okay.
Thanks, Lisa.
Okay. So basically, because we don't know what those benefits are, different companies have different benefits. Your company could be, all right, listen, you're going to answer the phone, AKA eat my box every time you're here. And
my God. Okay.
Listen, I'm sorry. I've had relationships with people where that was the relationship. We're not having sex. You give me top, and that's what it is. If you want to have this.
But but I think we're talking about two different things. We're talking about all the benefits. And I think this is really about being able to choose what you want. You have to be in a selection process. And it's like going online and saying, oh, there's these 10 shirts and I want that one. How do you know that you want that one until you try it on?
Because if you know because we're sticking with the analogy, if you know that your company needs an administrative assistant, why do you got a produce guy there?
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay.
I
so what I think that is. Oh, sorry.
I wasn't saying you. I was just saying like in general people, because you got to know what you want. If we don't know, like if I need a meat guy, if I need a butcher, I'm not going to have the produce guy at the.
But that's why we did the steps in order. You got to know what you want, right? You got to clarify your needs. There's a job description. You're not interviewing a produce guy because you looked at the resume and the resume said he's a produce guy. He's not an administrative assistant. So I get what you're saying. But if we're looking for administrative assistants, how do you know that this is the one when you have not interviewed any other administrative assistant?
You got 3 months to answer that phone appropriately. If not, you got to go. We got application number 2.
Right, but maybe application number 2 already has another job.
Well, then we go to 3. We had interviews. We just ain't let everybody in the position. And it depends on your business and what position, you know what I'm saying? What position you really need filled.
So go ahead, Lisa. I'm gonna let you go and then I'm gonna.
Yeah, I think this goes back to the clarity of which you were talking about earlier, of knowing what you want. Because if I meet someone after I've spoken to them a couple times, I know if I am inclined to spend hours with them, getting to know them, being in their life. If I feel that desire, and if I don't, that usually means that's not the right person. I don't have to go on 5 dates. I actually made a mistake once. It wasn't a mistake, but I went on a date with someone like 10 or 12 times. This person asked me for a kiss after about almost a dozen dates. And And I'm just like, what, huh? And he's just like, yeah, Lisa, it's been a long time. And I'm like, but I don't like him. Why do I keep going on these dates? I knew damn well I was not interested right away, you know? So
But see,
for me,
I'm not talking about that.
no, but what I'm saying is when I meet someone right away, I know if there's something that feels exciting, that feels like I want to get to know this person more. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. If I don't feel that, then I usually don't move forward. So what happens is then when I do meet someone that I feel excited about, I let that rock and see how it plays out. And if it doesn't work out, then I'm open to meeting somebody else. But if I have a couple of people that I'm excited about, there's somebody I'm usually the most excited about, and that's the person that gets my attention. Not the I can't give it the attention to 2 or 3 people because I won't have the bandwidth to give the kind of attention that I like to give.
I love that. And that works for you, and that
Yeah.
works for Janessa, and I think that works for most women. And then what happens is they get in a relationship, and this is their belief. They don't want to date anybody else, but men don't think like that, and other people don't think like that, right? So then you find yourself disappointed because they are in their selection process. They're saying, I'm a good catch too, and I have values. So I'm not going to just hook up because you have beliefs that say, I have to just only be with you. I
But then,
feel
Sharon,
like, go ahead.
you can be meeting people forever. It's like how, in my work they always say you can be interviewing agents all the time, even if you have an agent already. You should still be interviewing. But then you can be in a relationship with someone and still wondering what else is out there, what's going on, what's changed in the world since I've been, where does it end?
Well, I don't think for me, I think it's where you are in your life. But if I've done this selection process really well, what am I looking for anybody else? If it's working out, I'm not looking for anybody else because I've invested time, I've invested energy. Like I feel like we're aligned, we're still working, we're still growing together. I'm not gonna start this shit all over again with someone else just because I'm not sure if I made the right choice. Once I make a commitment, I make the choice, I'm sticking to the commitment. This is the part I think that is really hard for women. And I don't know if it's our belief systems growing up feeling like we're too promiscuous or we don't get the right to date more than one person. But this is your selection process. This is the part that people don't do. They don't take the time to select more than one person and figure out. I remember this last time before I got committed, I dated more than one person, and I actually wasn't even interested in dating. I just wanted to date myself, and I was having a lovely time. But the universe had different things for me, and people, showed up. But what I decided to do is I want to do this dating thing different. I don't want to just, oh, I like that person, I just want to hook up with them. I want to understand what it is that I'm aligning with. So what I did was I dated multiple people, right? And I said, I like this from this person. I really like this. And I got really clear because you can make a list. I want people who are spontaneous, and then your life is disrupted.
That life.
So I had to see how much spontaneity that I really want. I also wanted to see, was I like unreasonable? Like the things that I'm asking for. I started to look at habits. Like, what do you do when you get up in the morning? Like, how's your day going? I started to understand this process of assessing who's right for me, because it's just like when I interview people, I used to interview people all the time for my business. I got better at being an interviewer the more interviews that I did. But if I interviewed and they did well, and then it didn't work out, it's because I didn't get really great at being a great interviewer, because people are going to tell you what you want to hear in the beginning. And for the first, like we talked about, that probationary period, they know it's a probationary period. It's easy. Our feelings are all involved. We getting sexual and all that. They're doing all kinds of shit. Then the real person shows up after that 90 days, or not the real person, but they're no longer inspired to call you and be on the phone for 4 hours every night, because now they got to get back to their life. So I think you just got to be great at the selection period. And when I say date multiple people, that could be 2 people. It doesn't mean it has to be 5, 6, 7, 10 people, because that's a lot. If you're working, you probably got time for all that. but at least, but here's the other thing too. When somebody is coming for an interview, let's go back to that analogy, and I think that they're a good person and I might want to hire them, they also have other suitors too, because they're qualified candidate. So I don't get to just say, oh yeah, you're hired. They're saying, well, I've got some other interviews and I'm going to interview, I'm going to interview with some other people and I'm going to let you know, you know what I mean? So I think, I don't know, I'm just really passionate about this. I think people should date multiple people so you know that this is the one, this is the person that deserves to be with you and you're the person that they deserve to be with. This part we don't do, we skip over.
Curious about learning about this because I don't know how you do it, like how to do it, how to date multiple people. Like right now, if someone says, if I'm getting to know someone and they say a couple of ignorant things, then I already know right off the bat to cross them out. But if I'm talking to 2 or 3 people before, I might get it confused in my mind who did what. I don't know. It's just it's a lot of data for me.
So here's what I would say before, because I know Janessa wanted to jump in, is that this is because you're not trained at it. You haven't been doing it. Of course, it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be weird. It's just like anything we do that's new that we're doing. But I felt like I want to have the greatest love story I could possibly have. And I can't do it by just dating one person. I got to know what is out there. Am I being crazy? Am I being unrealistic? And who do I align best with? Because you might find that, oh, this person, yeah, they're nice, I could do it. And then you go like, oh my God, I could have fucking missed out. I would have missed out. I would have
One
missed
more thing,
out.
Sherelle. Then how do you handle judgment and stuff like that from multiple people or lots of potential heartbreak? Because if I'm dating 3 people, one person ends up not being interested in me. Oh, that kind of hurts. Oh, I feel a little insecure. Or somebody says something. Like, how do I not get so exposed to all these different opinions and emotions and energy? How do I protect myself in being with all in getting to know all these people?
That's a good question. So what I did was I just thought my emotions matter. What I need matters. What they want and what they believe is what they believe. But this teaches me about alignment. So when I was out, dating, I was learning who I was and what I was connected to. And yes, people were like you two. They were like, oh, you just want to do what you want to do. We are not aligned because that's not my process. I don't want to do what I want to do. That was never it. It was always, I want to make the right choice so I can commit to someone that's my best love story. So they did not understand. I didn't want to justify. I didn't want to, I just realized, oh yeah, they're not part of the selection process because for me, it was about finding the right person. You don't even know if these people, they didn't know if they were the right one for me. They just knew that I was good for them.
So then hold on. So you're saying about this protecting yourself with all these energies, all these conversations, all these room for judgment? Because I know for me, when I start dating, when I meet somebody, oh great, that I'm excited about, sometimes they say things that I'm like, really? You know what I'm saying? Like how or I spend time with them and discover things that affect, like how do I go about dating multiple people and with the benefits and not weighed down by all the personalities, their drama, their issues, and it can be dangerous. You hear about all this, all these people doing crazy things, especially this last year with the virus. How do you you don't know how people are going to react, or if you're dating multiple people, how do you make sure you're vetting everybody at the same degree? Do you know what I'm saying?
I do, but because your beliefs are that it's hard and I can't see how it could happen, that's what you're thinking about. So for me, I'm like I mentioned in the last one, I want to be with somebody who's dating multiple people because I know that I'm part of the selection process too. That they didn't just go like, oh, it's Sherelle and I'm just, and we just trying to make shit fit. No, I want to know that you did the selection process like I did the selection process. And that does come with people being upset and all this stuff, but that's where you just got to stay focused on what you want and what you need. And how they respond to you is a sign. I had one person that was really upset with me, but that was a sign. It was a sign we were not aligned because what it told me was, this is what I'm going to be dealing with when we're having a fight later, is somebody who's, I can't take it, and I can't do it. So I think how they respond gives you more clarity about where you want to go, because this is the person that you're trying to build your love story with. And if they're getting crazy and they can't understand it, and they're not trying to understand where you are, they are not aligned with you. All right, Janessa, go ahead.
We're ready for you.
Everything that's being said is dope and is true. Each aspect. I just personally feel like when I was younger, I always had multiple guys I was speaking to or seeing, especially before 19. Before 19, I was a little savage and I was on it like, I got a dude to take me places. I got a dude who likes to have conversations. I got a dude who likes to be adventurous. I got a whole killer over here. I got a whole, saint on this side. I was with the multiple connections and seeing what best fits me, and it never worked out for me. And in fact, what happened is because I was always looking with this intent to love on them and to seek value and show my value, what I did was create a ton of loose ends with these people. What I created was this weird and this is just me personally, this doesn't have to be everyone, but what I created was these broken connections with different individuals who clung to me for years, that even if we broke up, we always had these connections. Even if I stopped dating them, somehow I became the go-to fixer-upper emotional chick. Janessa, that one girl I dated who seen me in my best self even when I didn't know. So now 20 years later, still must hold on to her. And so I have these connections that have followed me, even though we didn't become physical, or we didn't become husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend, but we've dated, we've shared connections, we've celebrated in physical union, we've done different things. That's it.
Here's what I want to say with that is that you just explained your experiences,
Yeah,
through maybe the old Janessa, the Janessa who isn't looking for something different, who's clear, who's meditating, who wants a different kind of emotional person. Yeah, you had little guys here that was filling up these different areas when you were trying to find it a one guy. So it was like Build a Bear, like, oh, this one's got this thing and this one's got this thing. But your focus is different now. Your focus now is, I want to have my greatest love story. I want to be with somebody who's super aligned with me, so that we are emotionally connected, we're spiritually connected, we're physically connected, and we're mentally connected. Do I feed him? Does he feed me? Like, you're looking for this stuff. You cannot find that by like, oh, I like him. Here, let me just sit and do this thing. We do this with everything in our lives. Like when we go to buy a house, we don't go to the first house we see. Oh, well, this looks good, let's move in and see if we like it. No, we go like, let's go look at some other stuff. We do this with clothes. We do this with, if we're going to business with somebody, let me see if this is the right person. If there's other, if you've got other options. If you don't have any other options, I can see how you may not want to do that.
Right. And I get everything that you're saying, right? And in my past, being that I had that type of an experience, it also created baggage, though. So now when I do get to have that type of relationship that I really want with somebody who has all those characteristics, I have a lot of debris from all those other connections with me. And then I have to undo that and unpack that. So although the selection process is important, and I get what you're saying, clear, Shira, I really do. We have to keep in mind that we will have results because of that. We will have our own personal shit to unpack. We will have things, and so we have to consider that too. Because for years, I wish I would have known this at 21. I wish we was doing this podcast for me, because maybe I would have been able to clean up the mess in between then. But I've accumulated a lot of emotional debris from all those types of connections, because I was genuine in my connections with those people, whether it was a selection process or whatever it was. So not only did I search for what I needed in them, I also found things that I didn't want within self as the reflection of those connections. And I carried those pains and those attractions.
And I love that you're sharing that, but that's your past experience. So
No,
what happens is, and I get what you're saying, and I know that you understand what I'm saying. It's not that, but it's kind of like, if I want to make the most money I've ever had, I can't go back to my experience and go like, well, I haven't made it this time, and here's the time I haven't made it, because that is going to keep me in the low vibration of it's never going to happen. So
no, no,
what
no.
you got to do is change your beliefs that you can date one, two, maybe three people and be able to do it seamlessly. They're emotionally mature enough to understand that they are part of your selection process, and Janessa has a lot of value, and she is not going to just be dropping it for the first person that comes along. She is going to make sure that you're the one. So when you get selected and you're the one, you're going to know that she has exhausted all the other things and she's with you now. But go ahead, Lisa, what were you going to say? Sorry.
How do you maintain boundaries in all of this?
I don't think boundaries are hard. Like, tell me what you were saying is hard.
Okay, so I'm dating three people, and one of them wants to hang out certain amount of days, or wants to always talk on the phone, or wants, is going through some stuff but wants me available. How much of me do I have to give to the other person for this to be fair, or you know what I'm saying, or for me to gauge, and for them to also gauge if this is something that works? Like, how much of me do I have to give? How available do I have to be? Or how do I protect me and the identity of all these other guilty people?
Oh, guilty people. See, so what Sherelle just said, right, Lise, it is a lot. It has a lot to do with what Sherelle just said. I have a lot of value. That's the boundary. Like, y'all, if y'all gonna be dating me, it's like what we were saying before. I don't know if I said it with you guys, but like I'm the leader. I mean, I'm the gallon. I come with a lot of energy, or whatever my requirements are. Sorry about my dogs. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you have no capacity to hold the type of energy I'm coming with, then you have no business looking at me. It's not my responsibility to help you process that. So it's knowing your value. My boundaries come with who I am. Like, I need to select, is what Sherelle's saying. Like, I need to have a selection process. So you guys need to know that when I'm not answering, it's not personal. It's I'm busy. You have
Okay,
to
but
know
it's
that.
something like, oh, who else are you talking to? Oh, you're also talking to
But
Janessa and Sherelle.
that's
What
a
would
lack,
Sherelle like?
that's a lack of them understanding your boundaries. You don't even have the right yet to ask me those questions.
And I'd say, but so does Sherelle ask you those kind of questions? Does she have the right to ask you?
You know about
Hold on,
Sherelle.
let me answer.
You don't know about Sherelle now. Sherelle ain't in your business now. Listen.
Let me answer that. So when you talk about boundaries, so I don't need to tell somebody that I'm dating other people. All I have to say is I'm interested in dating, and that's it. I'm not in a commitment. Until we are in a commitment, you get to ask me what I'm doing and stuff. You guys are, I think you guys are thinking about like 6 and 7 months into it. I'm not talking 6 and 7 months into it. I'm talking about, the first 1, 2, 3 months. This is not something that's going to take years. This is going to, it's going to take, I don't know, 90 days, right?
I gotta say something. I gotta
Go
say.
ahead.
There was this one point in life where I had a connection with somebody who I adored and I loved. And but we never dated. We didn't have that. It was just connection and pop off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I knew about them being selective and having selections all the time. And I had my own selections and we knew it. But one of the most funnest things that we did with each other was when we connected was ask about our other connections. Because we weren't connecting on that level. We knew we would never be together. We just liked being together, right? So one of the fun things that I would constantly do when I went over to hang out with him and become romantic was ask him if his other girls did the things that I did, while engaging with him. Like, does she do it like this? Like, it was fun.
This is a slippery slope.
That became our thing.
Me too. I feel like that's a little bit.
You don't gotta put this. You ain't gotta put this.
I don't want this to be like a game show. Like, I'm doing all this selection. It's not like that, because I really want to honor these people that I'm dating. I want to be respectful. I want to honor myself. So I'm not going in with like, I can do whatever I want. Just, it's not that kind of it, that energy, and it's not that intention. It's really about, I'm serious about my next relationship, and I want it to be my greatest love story. And so I have to do my due diligence to make sure that I'm the right person for you and you're the right person for me. This is how I do my selection process. And it doesn't have to be like, I don't know. I didn't say all that. I just said I wasn't ready to be committed. That's all I said. So we're just
Keep
getting
from lying though. How do you keep from lying? Like, oh, what were you doing? I was just on a date.
I would say I was out.
You just said I was out?
Yeah.
So it's more of a
less is more.
So basically this episode is how to cheat. Now
No, it's not cheating. No, it's not cheating. Here's the thing, is that
I'm taking notes.
Because most people think like you, right? And they think that you can only date one person at a time. I'm not saying, I think as long as I'm honest with people, and this is how it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be, I just meet you. Back in the day, women didn't have options. They didn't have options. The other thing I want to ask you, and I don't want to just pick up anybody, but I'm saying, do you think Holly Berry like goes, okay, well, here's the guy, and that's just it? They know they got to fucking work for it. She has a lot of value. There's a lot of suitors there. So they putting their best foot forward. I'm not saying that we got to treat people like I'm the queen and you're under me. I don't mean like that. Not that kind of energy, but it's kind of like, I have a lot of value. I do. I'm a good catch. And I know that. And I want you to know that you're a good catch too. So as we are exploring our options, we're figuring out if we're aligned or not as we spend time together, because I'm not going to know how you react when you're upset, because that is the thing that will lose me right away. If somebody like, I didn't call them the day before and they're like, how come you didn't call me? And oh yeah, we're not aligned.
Right. Me too. I do that too. But then I just know, okay, I'm me and this person, I'm probably not moving forward. But I'm trying to figure out I'm trying to think, does this mean that I treat dating like I'm already in a relationship? Am I making myself too available to one person while I get to know them? These are the questions that it's bringing up.
I think that
how can I live multiple lives at one time? No, I'm kidding.
I don't mean in a way that it feels shysty. I don't mean like that. Like I want to be honest with people. But I realize, this is what I realized when I was dating though. People believe they have rights over you because you're dating. How is that possible? To me, I'm thinking, I have a lot of value. I've got a lot to offer. I've seen what's out there. No, we don't get to just be a couple right now. We've got to earn being a couple, because when we earn being a couple, we got to work hard at being a couple. But if we don't earn this shit, this is the stuff we're just giving away. People don't treat it the same. Go ahead.
But when you earn being a couple, earning being a couple is require investment. And so this is the thing. When you feel like you're not being properly invested in, or you're not giving your most fullest investment into another, you don't get that chance to really earn the couple, because you're being spread too thin. And that's what I think that Lisa,
but that's your belief. Your belief is that you're being spread thin, that there's all this energy going to other people. And the more that you think that, you're not going to be able to do this.
I don't think that. I think that when we're doing that, there's a subconscious or maybe even a partial conscious part of us that's like, this doesn't make me a great candidate. The fact that I have multiple people doesn't allow me as a woman to be an ideal candidate for a man, because the masculines are always looking for that type of security. Once they know that someone else can tap into that woman, you are an option, but not an option to keep. You're an option to play with.
That's not true. Lisa tries this out one day, fails.
Hi, my joyful friends. Stay tuned next week for part 2 of this very interesting discussion. My joyful friends, that's our show. Thank you for listening. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe and leave a review. Share this episode with someone you think will get some value out of it. We look forward to connecting with you on the next episode. Bye-bye now.